welcome to Visual Recreation, the essential video guide to winning FML each and every week. I'm your local gentleman, Drew.
And I'm Joey. I'm also a gentleman. And this weekend, there's two wide releases that we're going to be talking about. So let's turn to the new movies. Now, in this first movie, the head of a marijuana empire in London wants out of the business. He wants to get out of there.
Cheerio.
Yes, but he tries to cash out, and everyone, of course, wants to steal everything from him. So, yes, I'm talking about The Gentleman, and The Gentleman stars Matthew McConaughey.
Alright.
Charlie Hunnam.
Oh, I'm from Sons of Anarchy.
Henry Golding, just to name a few.
Simple favor.
Yes, now this was written and directed by Guy Ritchie, who has given us movies like the recent Aladdin and King Arthur.
That's right. Now, Pro Box Office has this at a long-range forecast of $11 million, which is an 8% decrease from last week. It has an opening weekend range of $10 to $15 million. A little bit more facts about this movie. It is rated R. It's an STX film, and it has a runtime of 103 minutes. Now, when looking at comps, we looked at King Arthur, Legends of the Sword, which is a Guy Ritchie film. It came out early 2017, and it starred Charlie Hunnam. That one made around $15 million in over 3,700 theaters.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the next movie we're talking about is The Turning. Now, Kate is the new live-in nanny of this estate, which holds many dark secrets. Now, she's taking care of two kids who hold those secrets. Will she survive or nah?
I know a koi fish doesn't survive, at least the CGI one.
Yeah, it's true. Now, The Turning stars Mackenzie Davis, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things, and Brooklyn Prince
from the Florida Project.
That's right. Now, this movie was written by Chad and Carrie Hayes, who's written such movies as House of Wax, Annabelle, and Conjuring 1 and 2.
Now, that is not a bad resume in the horror community, except for, House of Wax.
True.
Now, Pro Box Office has long-range forecast around $12.5 million, which is a 4% decrease from last week's projections. Has an opening range of $10 to $15 million, just like the first movie. A little bit more facts about this one. It's PG-13. It's a Universal picture. We're getting a couple of Universal picture early this year. And its runtime is around 94 minutes. Now, when looking at comps, we looked at The Boy, which came out in January of 2016, and that opened to around $10 million in over 2,600 theaters.
Very interesting. What was The Boy about?
The Boy was about a live-in nanny coming to see an estate while the parents leave, and she has to take care of a puppet. Well, come to find out, spoiler alert, the man/boy lives in the walls and then moves the puppet around to freak out the nanny.
And that movie made how much?
$10 million in over 2,600 theaters.
All right, well, let's get to more information as we take a closer look in our movie radar, or the MODAR. All right, welcome to the MODAR. Now, Guy Ritchie is back at it again.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, he's got a pretty distinct style of directing, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
His previous movies, King Arthur and Aladdin, may have his flair, but they're very much a different type of movie based on the rest of his filmography.
Agreed.
This movie, The Gentleman, looks more like his type of movie. But even saying that, Guy Ritchie seems to have a bit of a ceiling for non-Disney movies and non-Sherlock Holmes properties. So
I'd agree with that. I mean, looking back on some of his movies, like we said with King Arthur, that was a period piece almost, and Aladdin is a Disney staple. So when you go back even to his more recent movies, I mean, you got Man from U.N.C.L.E., which premiered in 2015 and made only $13 million, or around $13 million. And that one had Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer and Alicia Vikander. So it had a really good cast with that one, but it seems like he has a ceiling of like $15 million and a floor of $10 million or $12 million. So I think the opening weekend range is pretty solid on that one. And luckily there's no other movies coming out except for the movies that are expanding with Oscars that we have to worry about.
I like what you said about the projections of what this movie can make. I think it falls right in line. Now, when looking at horror movies like The Turning, looking at Universal's PG-13 horror catalog from 2013 to now, there's only been 2 movies just two that's made less than $20 million, and that was Ouija and Black Christmas.
That is correct. But when looking at the other movies in this catalog, you have Split, which made $40 million, but that was coming from a well-known director, and it was a little bit more offbeat. Insidious, Last Key was coming from a franchise. Happy Death Day to You, not your normal movie, and it was the first one, which then Happy Death Day to You kind of like fell off a cliff. Both literally in the movie and figuratively. Ouija and Black Christmas, I think, is the more generic of these movies, and I think when you're looking at The Turning, it's pretty generic in that this is a haunted house that has secrets and people are going to get haunted. You got the Addams Family hand crawling up everybody's backs, and Finn Wolfhard being a jerk on the drums because he doesn't want to stop playing the drums. So with that being said, I think this one has a very low floor, especially with the more recent horror movies coming out, with Black Christmas only making $4 million in late December, and then The Grudge coming out to like $10 million or like...
Yeah,
it didn't do so well. That one was rated R though, so PG-13 tends to hold up a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, it made me think of Winchester as she was building that house and crazy things.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ghosts haunting and stuff happening in the house, and that didn't do so well in the box office either. Opening weekend.
True, it was February, and I think it was Super Bowl weekend.
Okay, was it when it came out?
I think it was, but that was early 2018. So I do agree with that.
Yeah, and then it also reminded me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like they're taking, like that movie was like a series of stories in one, but maybe taking just one story and then boom, and now we got The Turning. Yeah. So just the looks and feels of it a little bit.
I agree with that. I think the marketing for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark were a little bit more potent than, say, an eye-catching, rather than this Turning one, which has Finn Wolfhard stepping on a hacky sack, which they made into a CGI fish, and then you're like, oh, that seemed weird.
I feel like they're trying not to give something away, which is, I don't know.
And
or maybe they're giving everything away, which is typical in movie trailers.
Also scary in its own form.
Yeah. I think that Bad Boys for Life and 1917 are going to have really good holdover numbers. So I'm probably just going to stick with them and some of the higher level movies versus these newcomers. They're not looking too hot for my Cineplex this week. Unless the pricing is right. That's the one thing that can change things every week. But... Yeah.
And theater counts, especially
and theater counts,
this award season. Theater counts are, especially when we get closer and closer to the Oscars. Things are expanding. Things are getting more buzz. Things are getting more Oscar buzz, and more showings are coming up. Just be wary of those theater counts because those are going to either make or break your Cineplexes. So be on the lookout for that at thenumbers.com.
Yes, thenumbers.com. Great website for that. But I think that's everything we have in this episode.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yep, so good luck this week in Fantasy Movie League. Hit those perfect Cineplexes. We'll see you next time. Remember,
sometimes you gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Biscuit, yeah, that's what I'm saying. The biscuit.